reception in the honor of Mr. Fabian Hamilton for his support for Kashmir issue, unwavering commitment for the peace and development in that region. We appreciate and we are grateful for your hosting conference in May in House of Commons, and now recently we have another conference on Kashmir, and we are also very grateful to your all colleagues who were there, MPs, and they supported our cause and they acknowledge our right of freedom of self-determination and right to freedom of movement. Everything you said that this is not a bilateral issue, this is a very much international issue, and we appreciate and we are grateful for you. It is honor to having you here, and all other colleagues who are councillors, our guests from different areas are here. We welcome all of you. Today we will organize a shield to present shield to Mr. Shaukat Ali Kashmiri for his commitment for peace, and he always stood against hawkish and communal forces in Kashmir. When their people were chanting slogans, extremist groups, Al-Jihad, Al-Jihad, he stood against them bravely. He organized rallies against these forces, and he said this is a proxy war of Pakistan and we should not be the part of this proxy war. And ultimately, history has shown that he was on the right side. He was pro-people, pro-peace agenda, and we admire his struggle, and we request our Honorable Fabian Hamilton to present him that shield. So this shield.
Do you want me to do it now, or?
Yeah. First we do this and later we do
Thank you. Well, my dear friend Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, this is in honour of all the work you've done. It says here, symbol of peace on earth. Until recently I was our Shadow Minister for Peace and Disarmament. Your contribution to peace in the region and to world peace is well known. You're in exile in Geneva, the birthplace of my grandmother, a city I know well. It's a wonderful place to live, but not as good as Kashmir. And I hope what this award means to you, sir, is that it will symbolise the future of a free, independent Kashmir where people have the right to self-determination, a struggle that you and everybody in this room has led for years. I hope there won't be too many more years, and this is just a small symbol of the progress that you've made and your contribution to that wonderful aim and goal of freedom for all Kashmiris.
Thank you, sir. Today's meeting is presided by Sardar Shaukat Khan. He is the President of United Kashmir People's National Party, UK. And we are honoured that Mr. Fabian Hamilton is here, our chief guest of tonight, this reception. Then we have Honourable Labour Councillor Sharon Hamilton. She is councillor from Leeds, Labour councillor. We have Maman Ajib, ex-Lord Mayor from Bradford. Welcome, sir. Thank you for your presence. Ali Adalat Sahib, he is Labour councillor, he is a writer, author, and he has been struggling for the identity of Kashmiris, and he did a remarkable work in this regard. Thank you, sir, for your presence here. We have Asghar Khan Sahib, councillor from Leeds, ex-Lord Mayor of Leeds. Ghulam Hussain Sahib, he is also a former councillor and chair Foreign Affairs Committee of Kashmir Freedom Movement. Mahmood Kashmiri Sahib, he is the chairman of Jammu and Kashmir National Independence Alliance. Gaur Almaz Sahib, he is the councillor, he is here. Thank you, sir, for your presence. Now I would like to give the floor to Sardar Khan Sahib. He will present a few words regarding the struggle of Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, and then we request other guest speakers to speak on the topic. And my humble request that please conclude in 3 to 4 5 minutes your presentation, then we will have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sir. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Member of Parliament, Your Excellency, Mr. Fabian Hamilton, and dear comrades. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the Honorable MP, Mr. Fabian Hamilton, who always stood by and endorsed and caused and voiced effectively. This afternoon, we have another distinguished guest, the respected exiled chairman, United Kashmir People's National Party, UKPNP, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. Since his student life, he has been struggling for democracy, rule of law, and the rights of the people of the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, especially areas under Pakistani occupation since 1947, commonly known as Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan GB. During his student career at Karachi, he struggled for the educational and democratic rights of the students and organized many demonstrations and strikes in order to put the administration's attention on the matters. He was several times in jail in Pakistan and Pakistani occupied Kashmir. He was twice kidnapped and disappeared by ISI and kept in solitary confinement in 1994 and after that 1998. Amnesty International declared him prisoners of conscience. He was released without charge after 9 months of the illegal arrest. Mr. Kashmiri has inspired countless people to devote their lives to peace, justice, and reconciliation, and his struggle and leadership for freedom, democracy, equality, truth, love, peace, and justice. He has inspired many people throughout his life and struggle against the brutal and theo-fascist state like Pakistan, which is using religion as a weapon and Islam as a foreign policy tool. Pakistan, determined to subvert democratic freedom and guilty of the West human rights abuses and violations and warmongering in South Asia, his visionary and foresighted leadership has promulgated United States of Kashmir that lays the foundation for democracy, peace, justice, reconciliation, and prosperity in South Asia. Mr. Shaukat Ali Kashmiri has given a popular slogan of "Save the Kashmir and Save the Kashmiris." He is continuously striving for the fundamental freedom, including academic freedom, cultural freedom, economic freedom, political freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of press and media, freedom of peace, full assembly, including right to development as well as right to life. He is a symbol of progressive and peaceful political struggle, and he is an inspiration for many of his followers to join politics beyond the party lines. He is a role model for peace-loving future generations. He is a symbol of peace on earth, so that he has received most prestigious Gandhi Peace Award as well. Today, United Kashmir People's National Party, UKPNP, UK chapter, acknowledges his peaceful struggle and presenting him the award, being a symbol of peace on earth. Once again, thank you all who are coming here today to support it and joining us here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to give floor to Miss Sharon Hamilton. She is the Labour Councillor from Leeds. Madam
Can we go after someone?
Okay. I would like to give floor to Ghulam Hussain Sahib. He is the chair Foreign Affairs Committee of Kashmir Freedom Movement. Sir, you are present.
Thank you. Chairman Sardar Tariq Saab, Chief Guest Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri, Fabian Hamilton Saab, ex-Lord Mayor of Bradford, Mohammad Ajib Saab, Ali Adalat, my friend and guest because he's come from another city, Gaur Almas Saab, and colleague from Bradford, Fabian Hamilton, Umar Khan Saab. I welcome you all to Leeds, those of you particularly who come from other places. As we mentioned, my name is Ghulam Hussain. It's always a pleasure to be amongst friends. Fabian and I often sit and talk, and perhaps in this room, apart from Ajib Saab, I have known him the longest, and maybe the equal time as. And I can say with confidence that I have known Ajib Saab longer than anybody else in this room. Possible exception of Ali Adalat, but I'm sure I saw him in the early 70s in Bradford. So it's always a pleasure. I met Kashmiri Saab, Sardar Shaukat Kashmiri Saab in around 2015. They called me to a meeting, one of our former colleagues, Fazur Rahman. In fact, Ali Adalat introduced me to Fazur Rahman. Fazur Rahman introduced me to Shaukat Kashmiri Saab. And then through him and other colleagues. And I've got a great pleasure in seeing that all of his supporters and colleagues have been members of the Labour Party or have been supporters in the election, not only in Haril's ward, but in every ward. I can remember them going in Asghar Khan's ward to Leaflet, in Old Woodley, in Sharon's to Moortown. So they are part of the political family, but we are also friends. I'm making a slightly longer speech because Sharon hesitated, so I'll set a bit of a context. Ajib Saab, I still read his writings with interest. He regularly writes on the Facebook. And I sometimes really admire that, I wouldn't say his age, I wouldn't like to guess, but he is probably the most senior amongst us by a good few years. But he's writing very regularly and he's very active. May God give him a long life and good health. And one thing which hasn't been mentioned before, he was the first Asian or first Muslim Lord Mayor in England in 1985. It was 85 on the I remember we held a reception for him in Leeds, and I had the honor of being the state secretary at that time as well. So I welcome everybody. Shaukat Kashmiri really is a role model for those who are in political struggle, because I don't belong to his party. He's been introduced on me from Kashmir Freedom Party, Freedom Movement. We've got very similar objectives and the same end goal, which is trying to work for a reunited independent Kashmir, or at least in the first instance the right of self-determination for the whole population of Kashmir, where they have an option whether they want to remain independent, they want to join Pakistan, or they want to join India. We will advocate for the independent option, but if the democratic process brings the result that they will join Pakistan, so be it. If the democratic process says they will join India, so be it. But at least, like the referendum in Scotland, like the referendum on Brexit, we would like that right to be established. And that is what he has been fighting. And Shaukat Kashmiri Saab's struggle is always peaceful. And whenever he meets others, he tells them. And I also was an associate of K.H. Khurshid Saab late. He was the secretary of Qaeda-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah and the leader of the Liberation League. And he was the one who encouraged me to join the Kashmiri politics back also in 1985. And since then I have worked. He also believed in peaceful struggle. I remember once he was invited to a meeting, in a house meeting with Ali Adalat and current Lord Qurban Hussain, and some people did ask him very difficult questions, saying, why don't you support the armed struggle in that? And he was saying that armed struggle is not really a solution to any problem. We must continue, and there's still a lot of armed struggle and still many peaceful movements for their freedom. Obviously, we support that. I am also part of an alliance. Shaukat Ali, Mahmood Kashmiri Sahab is now a member of UKPNP, but he has always been for the last 10-14 years chair of the Independence Alliance, which has got a number of organizations and some like-minded individuals in it. And we also advocate the same peaceful process and dialogue. Unfortunately, the situation between India and Pakistan is not that good. They keep having border struggles, and sometimes they refer to this problem as a bilateral problem or unilateral problem. But it is really the problem which is problem of the whole people of Kashmir. And therefore, if we are asking the right of self-determination, it is a fundamental international right, and we are not asking for anything special. So that struggle will remain whether India abolishes Section 370, which means that they have lost the special status of Kashmir, or Pakistan declares a part of it as a province of it, which in the end people might do it. But I think for our struggle to remain whole and effective, both India and Pakistan have got to make a way for referendum. So, in a nutshell, I've described the problem already, but you are very familiar. And to be honest, Sharon is one of the councillors who has worked with us all the time, and some of them, unfortunately, we lost Christine McNiven, which this community actually held a sort of session in her memory to celebrate her work with us. She was a very kind colleague as well. So it's been a real pleasure, and I think we've got an example of a community cohesion here, led by my very good colleague who was the chair of Equal Opportunities, and I was an officer of Equal Opportunities and headed the Equal Opportunities for 5 years. So you are fighting for peace and harmony, and we are been fighting for equality and justice. So thank you.
Thank you, Hamilton Sahib. And now I would like to give floor to Mr. Ali Adarat Sahib. He is the former councillor, and he is author, writer. That you have the floor.
Good evening. I only came here for some food. Oh, you didn't think it was that easy? Actually, I'm very sad. One of my friends, parliamentarian, told me, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri. So I'm still grieving that. Well, since I've been asked to say today, obviously I've known Shaukat for a very, very long time. Very long time. And I'm admiring of his work. Well, I think there has been, I think we are kidding ourselves. There's been a lot of water under the bridge. And I believe that India and Pakistan have reached an agreement with the cause that is divided. And secondly, I believe, like Israel, used to work with South Africa, because that was a fascist apartheid regime. And now they're very close to India. India is absolutely fascist state at the moment of the BJP. And they are creating ghettos, Christian ghettos, Muslim ghettos. And I hope people in positions of power like India can stop what is happening in Gaza that will be replicated in Kashmir. There is no two ways about it. And they are, Indian government is very, very fascist. I am really, really good. And secondly, we can wish for anything that we want. It's what we can achieve. And I would say, and we are on the receiving end of it at the moment, from the Muslim community, those of us who are in Labour Party, some more than the others. And they're always coming up to me as a deputy leader of National Council, why don't you resign and all this, like
trying to disengage us. We need to engage more in that sense. And that is, they are using largely, because 80% of so-called Pakistanis are Kashmiris in this country. And they are largely the right-wing fundamentalist element is using naive identity as Kashmiri. And now all of them identity. And that is, I think, within our gift within this country, and we have achieved that. We are either Asian, Black, Pakistanis, Muslims, but not Kashmiri. So these are two things that I would really like to raise and make people aware. It's very easy to say, Pakistanis are raw, very raw, military dictating. They are not organized in our country, but India is, and BJP is. And BJP thrives on RSS, on Mussolini and Hitler's philosophy, and we have been there for 120 years. And I really worry for minorities in India, and I hope, I mean, you look at Gaza, the first soldier to die there is an Indian. They are killing people in Gaza, the Indian army. There's no two ways about it. So they are in bed with really right-wing elements, and then we need to be prepared now before this to be empty.
Thank you very much. And the other side, now I would like to give floor to Mohammed Ajib, former Lord Mayor, Grateful.
Can I be excused and forgiven for not being able to stand up for 10 minutes due to not being well? Also, I take the lack of message in my age as a senior. No hesitation in telling you I'm 85.
Yeah, that's what I said as a senior in January.
Where can I start? I think the first day I have to say that I've been very much delighted to come here to see you, particularly on the insistence of Tariq, a football friend of mine. Whenever any function of this nature takes place in Leeds, he never says to me like the other. Most of the time, I have to apologize. I think that this evening, one day is very unique. That we are discussing and which is a very long-standing issue in the history of the subculture. I was about 8 when the partition of the subculture took place, and I left my village in Kashmir at the age of 15 years old. Spent 5 years in Karachi, then I came to here, and I've been here 65 years. And during all these years, I was very much interested in music. To see our homeland freed from the clutches of tyranny of Indian occupation, and at the same time the second-hand citizenship in Pakistan always as considered of war. I think these were the realities which haven't changed in the last 65 years or 75 years. And we still
had that dream that one day Kashmir would be free and independent, where people will enjoy like any other free nation, all sorts of freedoms, social justice. Can I tell you that I'm one of those individuals who have always fought for or against social injustice, against slavery, against illegal occupation of states, against illegal wars, against all kinds of discrimination and prejudices. And I can say that there is a living testimony like good old friend Fabian, who can endorse this sort of here in Britain. And he has been, of course, a good friend of Kashmiri, good friend of Pakistanis, and we shared some of the political convictions. And for that, I say you are a great one. So now I to be last time after him, and I met him second time in my life. But I'm a man, as someone said, that I'm still active, although suffering from adversity. My memory is not that much accurate as it was. But despite that, I have been following him. I've been reading about him, about his struggle. And Shaukat, I commend you, I respect you, I admire you for devoting your life to the cause of social justice, equality, peace and freedom. I think these are the qualities which sadly all of us do not possess. And there are not many in this world, I think, who are so big and carry all these kind of convictions, and they are not afraid of repercussions, retaliations, which can be often very unpleasant. So thank you. I have my other colleagues. Give me just 5 minutes, because I want to come to the actual point that we are here for, and I'll put you some. Because, the older you get, in our culture, the more sort of you become to give advice to the youngsters, although they don't care. They don't listen, they don't take any notice. But this is part of our cultural responsibility, perhaps. I've got some good friends here, Asya. I've known him. He's also related to me. This, my friend, comrade, Yudarat. We sometimes meet to discuss, and I think you need some of my material which I do put on Facebook or somewhere else. I regularly write for a website in Pakistani in English. Umar Khan, my very old friend, 40 years. And Gore, of course, is a new champion. And I wish you good health and happiness. Coming to the real point, I think that, first of all, can I suggest you, all those people here are very committed. I know they are nationalists, or they wanted to do something, all the time, including, of course, my oldest friend, Ghulam. But you can't do justice to discuss this very complex subject in 5 years of attendance.
True.
And I'm not in favor of those sort of conventional way of conducting such meetings. You come here, you speak, you praise some people, you eat, then you go home. And that's the end of it. That should not be so. If you are committed that you want to discuss it in its depth, what is going on? Well, we can tell you, global politics has radically changed. We've got to take the notice of it. It's no good to follow the same old traditional approach and cling to that, whether it's right or wrong, or it's possible or impossible way of achieving your objectives. After all of this, politics has changed globally. New blocks are being formed in this world. The world has become very volatile. Everywhere you see blood, wars, attacks, articulations, occupation. It's all economic way, or economic war in a way. And in that kind of situation, Kashmir becomes immaterial. I'll tell you why. We see every day and every night what is happening in Gaza, in Palestine, what's right out of the streets and the press, the media, the social media. And why you do so? This one reason is that because of the atrocities, because of the genocide which is taking place there, the other reason is the American imperialism also involved in that kind of war. It's because the whole Western bloc is more or less engaged in that war. And they control the mass media. Don't forget. We don't. They control the mass media. Who owns CNN, who owns Sky, all these kinds of things. And who control this world are those people who can defy even the United Nations resolution. And put them in a piece of paper and they did. And the United Nations has become irrelevant organization. It's not only moribund organization, it's totally impotent, and it's playing always the cards which they are instructed to play by Americans who are their paymasters. So, can we hope that United Nations will help us to achieve our objective, which we keep on crying for, is the self-determination, the right to self-determination? What will be your answer? Yes or no? No. Can Pakistan take the lead by launching a fourth war against India? No. Can America, Britain, or some Arab nations, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, can they help us to get Kashmir free? No. So what we can do that in that kind of situation? Britain, American, their foreign policy will not change. It doesn't matter what is happening in the Middle East or what can happen, as we indicated to Kashmir by the Indian fascist regime. So, India is in facto now occupied area of Kashmir. What has anyone done about it? What we can do about it? That is a $5 million question. Pakistan has occupied with Pakistan without consultation of the Kashmiri region of Kashmir. No one made any real noise. No one protested even here in Britain. So Pakistan in de facto is in control of the dark business. They have their governor, they have their chief minister. What is left? A small portion of our Sardar Kashmiri which is valid, from Jothabad right up to Leeds. Who is going to help us? China? America? There's no oil. Or Britain. They always say it's a bilateral issue after the Shimla Agreement. Is that not true?
Yep.
I have met, when I was active in politics, my own colleagues and friends in the Labour Party, and some of them were progressive and wanted to do something about it. But they said we can't do anything because you have already got Shimla Agreement, which it says that this matter will be resolved by negotiations between the two countries. What is this? No mention of Kashmir in the Shimla Agreement. No mention of Kashmir anywhere. We will never be consulted. But we have been slaves of both India and Pakistan. And now, someone said that both countries, in a way, have decided that either hum, either to. No more. I did do an article about 8 months ago, I think, in which I suggested that there was only still a hope for the solution, and that is that Pakistan should consider very seriously declaring the Azad Kashmir, not only Azad Kashmir, but the whole of the Jammu and Kashmir state, which existed in 1947 as an independent state, and recognize it and try to get recognition from friendly country in Pakistan. Because our agitation has totally failed. Pakistan has never had any meaningful policy, foreign policy. So my friends, I'm not trying to cause any despondency amongst you. I'm simply putting on the table all the facts and realities of the situation and the realities of world politics which I see is moving so different directions. I remember the time when we were out in London protesting against the war in Vietnam. The whole world at that time seemed to be moved left. Here I see, after 45 years, 50 years, the whole world is moving towards not only right. I fear the world is moving towards a kind of precious composition. which coincides peace. And in that context, I think the very, very small nations which are being grown between the two big powers, nuclear powers, then think seriously what is the option for respect.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your suggestions, but we have been organizing seminars, meetings, intervention in UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, and UN published reports on Kashmir in 2018 and 2019. And they asked both India and Pakistan that this is not a bilateral issue. This is very much concerned of the life of millions of Kashmiris. And in your certainly you get suggestions.
No one listens to United Nations.
It's your opinion. But United Nations has in United Nations we cannot undermine the United Nations. Sorry,
please. Any dispute, United Nations are able to resolve in.
It is the mandate of the United Nations and member states bound to accept inside of. In 2007 there was a vote in European Parliament and 522 MEPs they voted in favor of Kashmir and they asked India and Pakistan that this is not the part of India, either Pakistan, and India and Pakistan has no right to unilaterally amend or annex any part of state of Kashmir. We are struggling, we are very much optimistic, and we have only one place where we can go and raise our issues, that is the Human Rights Council, because we are disputed, we have no embassies, missions, ambassadors, and as a civil society representative, we are very much active and they are answerable. Each and every state is scrutinized under universal periodic review in every 3 years. And they reply, they submit each and everything what they did, wrongdoings, and they are always promising that they will reform. And we shall continue our struggle for unification.
Can I just add one? I think, with your permission, I don't think fundamentally what Ajib Saab has said and what you are trying to do differ. This is what he wants to see and what we want to see. I think what he has stated is that it looks under the current scenario that we have got no way forward in sight. But having said that, our struggle, in my opinion, he will endorse it, must continue. I will circulate this to you. We've already started a series of discussions on Zoom, and the topic that we are discussing tomorrow on our monthly webinar is the current political position of Jammu and Kashmir, all entities and regions, and the way forward. We've got 4 speakers, 2 from the Valley who live in America and Canada. We've got a speaker from Azad Kashmir and we've got a speaker from Kyrgyzstan. So we are, and JK, this is under the umbrella of JK and I, Mahmood Musab is the chair, I am the secretary, UKPNP is part of that. So we're not saying putting all eggs in one basket. The role of UK, United Nations Human Rights, I think the real difficulty is that we can't impact on the United Nations Security Council because we are not recognized. And what Ajib Saab said, if that was recognized, our position would be very different.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to give floor to Gaur Alwas Sai, he is the counselor.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me. I'll be very brief. I feel that I have really lack of knowledge in terms of the subject with eminent, if you like, scholars and people who've spent all their life in the struggle of Kashmir, like Shaukat Ali Kashmiri Saab, and I congratulate him for winning the symbol of peace on earth award today. So my sincere, if you like, congratulations to him. And I won't go a lot into pleasantries, but I would still like to thank Fabian, Right Honourable Fabian Hamilton, who has joined us here. My sister, Councillor and colleague Sardar Hamilton, also here. By the way, they share the same surname. They are brothers and sisters from another mother, though. I would say that. My colleague and former colleague, Councillor Ghulam Hussain Saab, who's here, who's always been an elder and, if you like, always have given us good advice. Sardar Tariq Saab for organising the events. Thank you very much. Then we've got Councillor and former Lord Mayor Ajib Saab, who's like a mentor to me and a senior colleague as well, very eloquent speaker. I think nobody knows a lot more about the issue and various other issues in Kashmir and in that region than former Lord Mayor Ajib Saab. And by the way, let me share one thing with you as well, something pleasant that you'll enjoy. That Lord Mayor Ajib Saab, by the way, Lord Mayor, we call him Lord Mayor, it's like the American president, once a president, always a president, once a Lord Mayor, like Ajib Saab, always a Lord Mayor. He was one of the most, if you like, trending person in newspapers in 1985 after Princess Diana. So that was the kind of coverage that he got in journalistic circles and so on. Then I've got my friend here, Ali Adalat Saab, Councillor Ali Adalat Saab, who's a great colleague, a great comrade. We were having a meal somewhere. We just on the table, myself and Omar Khan Saab, who's the former chairman of Bradford Bulls Rugby Club, and he said he actually ordered me. He says, you know what? Just leave the table and come over here. I want you here. I'm here in Leeds. And what are you doing? I said, we're in Bradford. We're having a meal. I said, no, come over here. We'll have a chat and whatever. So we had to leave the table and come here because I can't say no to him. I've got my dear brother here, Councillor Asghar Khan, who's the former, again, Lord Mayor of Leeds as well, and various other respectable colleagues and friends here. So welcome and thank you for coming here to Leeds tonight. Just a couple of points, and I don't want to be, and I've got Lala Saab here as well, and various other friends who are here. First of all, I think, I don't want to be repetitive, we need to have diversity of opinions. We just don't want, in terms of intellectual ghettos as well, preaching to the converted all the time. When we have these kind of meetings, we all agree. There's no disagreement, and I think when you don't have disagreement and we don't have diversity of opinion, I think that is not a very healthy thing as well. So we sometimes need people who would sometimes perhaps challenge you, sometimes ask you questions, uncomfortable questions and stuff like that, which will actually add to the dimensions about Kashmir. I am a Pakistani and a proud Pakistani. However, I was a student leader in Kashmir, in Azad Kashmir, and I spent really prime time, 6 years of my prime time of my youth in Kashmir as a student leader in Kashmir. So in a way I'm an honorary Kashmiri as well, because I spent so much time there. And I've got a lot of, if you like, good memories and a lot of love, affection and loyalty to Kashmir in that respect. Now in terms of going to the subject, I think a couple of points that we need to be absolutely clear about is that on 6th of August 2019, it was the Indian Modi regime who abrogated the special status of Kashmir by revoking Article 370. This was your right as a state subject. Nobody could go, willy-nilly buy properties into the state of Kashmir, regardless whether in Pakistani Kashmir or Indian Kashmir. This was taken away by the Modi regime, by the RSS, if you like, philosophy, where they don't believe in human rights and all that. So let's not mingle and let's not combine the two together, that Pakistan is doing similar to what Kashmir is doing, India is doing to Kashmir. I think Indians have done something terrible and we need to condemn that unequivocally, what they've done to the rights of the Kashmiris. So we need to be absolutely crystal clear about it. However, coming from an area of northwest of Pakistan, and I'm sure most of you share the same blood with me, in terms of coming from the northwest of Pakistan as well, and the Kashmiri as well, as you can say it now. The thing is, you people don't believe in belligerence. You people don't believe in people coming and dictating you and whatever. That's why you stood up to oppression. That's why you stood up to anything that wants to press you, in that way. So I commend you and I salute you for your courage in that respect. However, at the same token, I think what we need to do is we need to be very strategic about Kashmir dialogue. I think we don't need to repeat ourselves. We need to be looking at some new options and whatever, because the power is shifting. Let's not forget, now the new stakeholders are not just the Americans or the Soviet Union anymore. It's not a unipolar, if you like, world that we live in. After COVID, things have changed. Things are changing. You've got things like you know, the British, if you like, influence is not the same as we used to have probably 50 years ago. So now you've got big stakeholders in that region, who are stakeholders in Kashmir as well, is Chinese and Indians. And let's not ignore the fact that you need to engage with them. We need to engage with them in a way that there is some sort of solution that comes from the Kashmiri people. I think Kashmir belongs to the people of Kashmir. As a Democrat, I would say, whatever the decision is, we need to accept that. And I think Pakistanis or Indians, both, shouldn't make it a bilateral issue. I think they need to involve and engage the Kashmiri people and the will of Kashmiri people to ask them. They are the main party. They should decide their future. It's their land. So they should have the say and the final say whether they want to be with Pakistan or whether they want to be independent. I think being with India is I think a silly option anyway. If they wanted to be with India, they would have decided 70 years ago. So whatever they want to decide, it should be the will of Kashmiri people, and we should respect that. And finally, I would say one thing, read one thing for you, and I'm sure most of you will agree with us. This is a brilliant saying. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I wasn't a trade unionist, and I didn't speak out. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. So all I'm going to say is, before you ask other people to speak out for you, we need to be speaking out about injustices in the world, whether it's happening in Palestine, whether it's happening in Gaza, whether it's happening in Syria, whether it's happening in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, or the rest of the world, South America and so on. So let's join those people. You belong to, if you like, to a group of people who are admired the world over because you have suffered for so long. And I think the suffering needs to end, and we need to stand up in solidarity. Thank you.
We came from that part of Kashmir which is known as Azad Kashmir, and we are ruled by 4 rank officers. A Kashmiri cannot promote it to IG or Chief Secretary. They always come from, mostly from Punjab, and they think that we are not deserving, we are not able to.
I understand and appreciate that very well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to give floor to Asghar Kansai, who is responsible and former Lord Mayor of Leeds.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Can I take this opportunity, and it gives me great honour to welcome our chief guest, Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri Sahab, to Leeds. And also it's lovely to see my friend, my mentor, Fabian Hamilton, Member of Parliament for Leeds North East, my former colleague and mentor, another mentor as well, and big brother, former Councillor Ghulam Hussain, and Sharon Hamilton, my colleague now, as an executive member, deputy executive member in Leeds City Council, and also, how can I forget my uncle, the role model, the first Asian Lord Mayor in Bradford, and we are very proud of you. And then we've got my dear brother, who is Councillor Ali Adalat, who is the deputy leader of Rochdale, and welcome to Leeds. And also my dear brother and Councillor Gora Mas, and then my dear brothers, all of you who have come to Leeds, I'd like to welcome you here. Before I like to say a few words, can I take this opportunity to thank Sardar Tariq Saab and his team in Leeds for organising this event. Please join me, give them a huge round of applause. The reason we're here today is to recognise one individual person who has sacrificed his life for freedom, for peace, for wherever injustice has been taking place. That is Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri Sahab. I've known him not a long time. I'm only a young person, but I've only known him recently, about a few years ago. When I see him, he's got the intellectual, he's a leadership, and we want people more like him to be out there advocating and being the ambassador of Kashmir cause. And as my brother Ali Adalat said, and Councillor Gora Mas said, whatever is happening in the world, if we don't stand for, for injustice, inequality, things tomorrow, people will not stand for us. So what we need to do is we need to stand up now wherever injustice is taking place. And I'd like to applaud Fabian Hamilton. He did a brave thing. He voted against the Gaza atrocity, what's happened. We condemn what happened on the 7th of October. We don't agree with that. But however, whatever is happening now in Gaza is wrong as well. So Fabian voted against, and we should applaud him, what he's done, and he stood with the people of the humanitarian where injustice was happening. Thank you for that, Fabian. With those words, I know we're all ready for the food as well, and I just want to say thank you for inviting me here, and I hope you have a lovely evening, and congratulations once again, sir. Thank you.
Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Mahmood Kashmiri Sahib, who is the chairman of Jammu and Kashmir National Independent Alliance.
Thank you. Respected Fabian and other fellows, I just want to say a few words. People of Jammu Kashmir, the princely state of Jammu Kashmir, be resorted to its status on 13 August 1947. When Kashmir was united and independent, Jammu Kashmir is not a dispute of land between Pakistan, India and China. It is a matter of illegal occupation and breach of fundamental human rights by India, Pakistan. We demand withdrawal of all military weapons and infrastructure of occupation set up by Pakistan, India and China. Our princely state of Jammu and Kashmir has been forcibly divided. We the people of the princely state of Jammu Kashmir want that the forced partition of our state should be ended. We want independent, secular Jammu Kashmir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kashmiri Sahib. So I would like to give floor to Ms. Sharon Hamilton, Labour Party Councillor.
That's fine.
You are the
That's fine. This was a very short notice that I received, and thank you so much for inviting me. He didn't tell me what the topic was and why I was coming. He urged me to attend, so I'm here. And distinguished guests, my friend Ghulam, and our MP and my colleagues. I've listened to our elder, and we must always give respect to our elder. And whatever our elders say, we take on board. I was really shocked and surprised when he said he was 80 years old. He's 85, but he was 8 at the time. Many years, wisdom is here. Wisdom we take on board, and we always listen to our elders. We might not always agree with our elders, but we have to listen. And I've listened to you all about Kashmir. I met Ghulam in 2010, who's educated me about Kashmir. He always invited me to your meetings. I've listened, I've given speech prior before, and it's always about fighting for justice, freedom and peace. But tonight is about Mr. Shaukat, who has received that honour for your life that you've dedicated for peace and justice. And in the black community and around the world, we've always all fight for peace, justice, equality. And a lot of our people has been assassinated fighting for that, but the fight goes on. It could be 60, 70 or 100 years, the fight still go on. So keep up the good fight. One day Kashmir will be independent. Congratulations once again, and thank you all for inviting me. And we keep fighting, you must also keep fighting. You might not live to see, we might not live to see, but the generation that follow will say we started the fight and they will continue. And the last words, congratulations.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Now I would like to give floor to Sardar Shaukat Ali Kashmiri sir. He is the chairman of United Kashmir People's National Party.
First of all, I would like to tender my apology that I have some constraint that if I pronounce wrongly any name, maybe someone feel it. That's why I just say my brother, my colleague, and especially today's actually Chief Guest is our great sympathizer. He help us, he cooperate us. He always supporting for the oppressed nations. And he also counter all the propaganda, all the pressures. And many people knew that we are the people who are believing secular or democracy, and we need peace. We are always stood against the warmongering forces, proxies, whether it's operating in any part of the world. My special apology, our great brother, Mr. Ajib Sahib, for the interruptions. But there are some misunderstandings. Like we are the peoples who are always buying the propaganda of the governments. Because the government did not like that any persons, any individuals to interact with the international institutes or where we can answerable to the states. That's why we buy the propaganda. And we think, because they injected us that United Nations is nothing. But it is the Security Council who recognize the Kashmir issue. That's why we proudly ask Pakistan, India should comply the United Nations Security Council regulations. That resolution fixed their roles, examined them, and lately asked Pakistan, asked India what their compliance. The second thing, unfortunately, we are always buying populism. But we are not ready to condemn who wage the war, who create mass, and nation states has to intervene and kill the innocent peoples. We are not against any religion. We are not against people of Pakistan, people of India. And I'm always stood with the Pakistani oppressed people, religious minorities, and our belief and ideology is progressive. We want that Pakistan, every Pakistani have the right to vote, and every Pakistani deserves for the justice. We stood with the Pakistani democratic forces and struggle, and many times since my student life, I was facing persecutions. Not for the Kashmir, but sometimes in the solidarity with the Pakistani democratic forces. So we are not against Pakistan. We are not against the Indian peoples. But we are asking Pakistan and we are asking India to behave like a nation state, not suppress us through the majoritarianism, through the ban, and recognize our basic rights. Same is the case with Unfortunately, no one among the Muslims is ready to examine the role of Hamas. Why Hamas wage this adventure? And that adventure provide the reasons to one state who has the mandate to hold the gun. Every nation state has the right through the Security Council, through the United Nations, that they can hold the gun. Private militia, private organization cannot carry the gun, carry the Kalashnikov, carrying the gun. So we should think about it when we say something regarding the issues. Of course, we are in favor of every nation's right to self-determination. We are against expressionism. We are against occupations. And those states who suppress their own people, who divide their own people on the communal lines, and using religion in the state affairs or in politics, we are against them. And sir, for your information, when Indian Parliament passed the regulations and abrogate 370 and 35A, it was the United Kashmir People's National Party who hold rallies, seminars, conferences and protests against this majoritarianism. But according to the United Nations regulations, the Indian state role is different and the Pakistani state role is different. Today, what our miseries, and day by day it increases more and more. And our identity, our freedom of expression, our freedom of movement, everything is somehow snatched the spaces. Because both the governments, whether it's India or Pakistan, now on the same page, both the government using religions against the religious minorities, like in Pakistan. The religious minorities have no say. The women have no say. And there is no democracy. When we are talking about a democracy, what is going on in Pakistan? Today, 100,000 people are facing persecution. Even the ex-prime minister is facing also some kind of charges. But the judicial system is unable to provide the justice. You know, last 30 days, the Baloch women sitting in Islamabad for the safe release or the justice to the enforced disappeared people. How many other people or the councillors or the leaders like to raise the voice that the Pakistani government, Pakistani establishment should address the enforced disappearances issues. So we are not buying the propaganda of governments, whether it's propaganda of any government, but at least we should examine those proxies who actually play a role and ultimately people suffer due to their policies. I have no any, frankly speaking, I'm not populist. I'm not buying popular slogans. I'm a free thinker. I'm not bound to any line. But what I think it is wrong, it is against the humanity, I should say. It is my prime responsibility that those people who are actually playing the role for the weapon industry and destroying the peace. Let's look, before 3 months, there was a new opportunities in the Gulf. Saudi Arabia and Israel engage each other in talks. Gulf states were also involved, and the other many groups. And people were thinking that this market for the weapon industry is shrinking. If the peace restored in Middle East, then they lose some kind of profit. That's why they are always conspired against Pakistan, against the people. So when we give a statement, so at least we should open our eyes, open our mind, and irrespective what my friend carrying the faith, political faith or religious faith, but until and unless we will not go through the self-criticism and examine our own role regarding the issues, we cannot help the oppressed people. And the last 76 years, we have only one institution where we can answerable to the state regarding the human rights abuse. That is the United Nations Human Rights Council. And United Nations not carrying the army. The United Nations is functioning through the member states. So we should understand what is the role of United Nations and what is their efforts to restore the peace. Although the nation state or those warmongering forces, they are not accept their advices, but at least you have only one tool. And if any government is think that the Indian occupied people are facing injustice, and anybody who is claimed that he is more sympathetic with the Kashmiri people, why they are not file a petition in International Court of Justices against the injustices? Some people ask me that why you are not asking release for that person. I don't like to quote the name. But when a person who accepts all charges, how I can defend him? How I can ask him that this person should be released? Whereas he committed many crimes against the progressive, secular, democratic people. So I don't buy any kind of propaganda. Sorry to say, my brother, but we are even belonging to the same regions. At least we should think about how we can bring peace in the region, how we ensure the right of the people, and until and unless we will not examine true role of the state, then our whole struggle falling in the category of propaganda. That's why, like, it was the United Nations Security Council resolution on 13th August 1948, and even Security Council laid down the truce agreement, and that resolution actually fixed the role of both the states, who have the right to comply that resolution. It is the duty of Pakistan that Pakistan should comply that resolution first. But unfortunately, I'm against the policies, not the people of Pakistan. But Pakistan, instead to comply that resolutions, that perform that duty which was assigned by the international community, she started a proxy war. And what India did in Kashmir, India fulfilled that gap which was created by the proxy war to the proxy politics. And the whole state of Jammu Kashmir is facing proxy war and proxy politics. And we are victims. And what the policies of the Cold War era, I don't like to go into details because time is too short. But at least one time we should sit and discuss about the issues. If you think that I need some kind of corrections, I'm ready to. Because I'm a progressive person. I am not a religious fundamentalist. My politics is not under any kind of religion. We are believing in secular politics. And this is what is our voice. We want a very excellent secular system, which is, of course, is here. But Jamatul Ulama Islam, Jamatul Ulama Hind, they are asking India, give us more secularism in the Indian society. But the same branch is asking that no, in Pakistan, if anybody who say about the secularism, they are infidels, they are not good Muslims, they should be eliminated from the society. In India, Muslims wish more secularism. In Pakistan, all our clerics want that anybody who say in favor of secularism should be eliminated from the society. So until and unless you Pakistani diaspora did not sympathize with the people and promote the democratic ethos in the regions, because Pakistan will survive only through the democracy. And those policies which is promoting extremism, which is promoting communalism, it will not help for the Pakistani and as well those areas which is under Pakistani administration. So we people should promote a pro-people agenda, not pro-state agenda. We should read the United Nations resolutions, what resolution asking. We should not capture the Nawal Waqt or some newspapers headlines. And then we should ask them why you are not complying this, whether it's India or Pakistan. And the other things, I would like to thank you, all of you, and you are here, and especially my special thanks on behalf of the United Kashmir People's National Party, not only Fabian Hamilton is so generous, so nice, so kind, but all of you who present here, who participate here and contribute. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all. If anything if you don't like, please accept my apology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to give floor to our chief guest of this gathering, Mr. Fabian Hamilton. He grace this meeting gathering and we are
Assalamu alaikum everybody, and I will try not to keep you too much longer because you need to eat. I've thankfully eaten thanks to Tariq and his generosity. Firstly, thank you for all your excellent speeches, and for, I feel very humble here because there are so many more people who know what they're talking about, who've had the lived experience of Kashmir itself, and they're fighting for a struggle which is a just and right one and righteous one. I want to say thank you to my old friend Hamid Ajib, former Lord Mayor of Bradford, because he's been an inspiration to all of us, and I have followed him and been friends with him for many decades, and I'm very proud of that. Also, of course, Ghulam Hussain, who's my chief officer, as he mentioned, when I was the chair of the Equal Opportunities Committee in 1988. A long time ago, Ghulam. We're not really old enough, actually. but he guided me together with Clinton Cameron, and he made sure that together we worked as a team. And I was so proud of that, and he taught me so much. And dear councillors, my dear friend and namesake Sharon, who is my sister in spirit, even if we're not related by blood. Some people think we are, by the way. Somebody once said, is Sharon Hamilton your wife? I said, no, we are both married, but not to each other. But actually, I probably spend more time seeing her than my own wife, Rosie Hamilton, because of the political work we do together. She is a very active and brilliant councillor, as are all my councillor colleagues and friends. You mentioned earlier, Councillor Nally, that our friend Tony Lloyd passed away 2 days ago. He was obviously your friend because you're from Rochdale and he was your MP. He was my friend and mentor as well for 35 years, sponsored by my union, a fighter for peace, for justice and for human rights. And this morning I almost burst into tears when I received an email from the Secretary of the Parliamentary Human Rights Committee, which Tony Lloyd chaired for many years as a former Foreign Office Minister, asking the Secretary of that committee that in the event of his inevitable death, because he knew how ill he was, that I should take over the Parliamentary Human Rights Committee by election, obviously. And he wanted me to do that. I didn't know really what to say. I haven't replied yet, but I will accept it. And that will give me extra authority to fight for the human rights that you are seeking in Kashmir. The freedom, the self-determination that everybody deserves. So I wouldn't take up too much extra time. Let me just say this. In 2024, half the world's population will go to the polls and vote for new governments, or for the same government, or for the same dictator in the case of Russia. They will have the right to vote. But you know, democracy is more than the right to vote. It's something that Kashmiris don't have the right to do at the moment, and they should have. But what is democracy? It's about having a say in our own lives. It's about determining our own futures. It's about something you said, Shaukat, not being dictated to by governments, but having the right to dismiss and appoint those governments. It's the late Tony Benn, the veteran Labour MP, who was an inspiration to so many, and the father of Hilary Benn, the MP for Leeds Central, once said, democracy is not about voting governments in, but it's about dismissing the governments that we don't want anymore. It's about people leaving office and being kicked out for what they've done, as well as the people that we want to see replacing them. Democracy is broader than that. It's about freedom under the law, the rule of law, the right to say what you believe without being arrested, the right not to be subject to arbitrary arrest for your political views, for your views for who you are, the tribe you belong to, the religion you follow, the orientation you have, the gender you are. It's about fairness and justice for all the peoples of this earth. And you know, the biggest driver of conflict is something I've learned in these last 27 years in Parliament, is inequality. Inequality between all, inequality of income, of power, of access to education, of access to water, of access to land. It's inequality that drives conflict. And Shaukat, you said something really important just now, something I wanted to make a point of, and that was the international arms trade, the responsibility that it bears, the profits that the warmongers make out of selling weapons that are designed for one purpose, to kill human beings and nothing else. They're the people we need to hold to account, because they drive governments. They drive governments into spending hard-earned taxpayers' money on weapons they don't need to kill people indiscriminately. We need to hold them to account, because what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Yemen, what's happening in so many parts of the world right now is the international arms trade supplying weapons so that people can be killed more efficiently. We have to stop that, and we have the power to do it. So I'm going to end on 2 points. One is this. When I was Shadow Minister for this region, when I was asked how would you solve the issues in Kashmir, one of the points I made was this, that it was Britain who was instrumental in causing today's problems. Many people have said that to me. And who was the government of Britain at the time? It was the Labour Party. It wasn't us, because we're not old enough. There's only one person who was old enough to remember, and you were a child then, so nobody else in this room is. But I think we have an historic duty, Sharon, an historic duty to bring the parties together, to say to all the parties in Kashmir, Azad Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, the Indian government, the Pakistani government, come to London. We're not the colonial power anymore, thank goodness. and we have no desire to be again. What we want is to see freedom and justice and self-determination for the peoples that have been oppressed for too long. Let's do that. Let's campaign for that, because we can be an honest arbiter here. We can do what the British government did in 1979 to bring peace to what was called Rhodesia at the time, and black majority rule. We did that at Lancaster House. Some of you might remember that. It's a long time ago. I was only in my mid-20s, but I remember it like it was yesterday. The son of the man who negotiated that, I was actually with him in Bahrain a few weeks ago at an international conference. He's called Soames, and he's the son of Sir Christopher Soames, the man who negotiated that deal. We can do it again. Nicholas Soames, grandson of Winston Churchill, of course, Tory but actually quite progressive in his own way, and a fighter for justice for the Arab peoples too. So it can be done, and it should be done, and you all have a part to play in this. And I think that lobbying up and down the country and saying Kashmir will not be forgotten. We have a right to be free, and we will be free. And we need what we deserve to have, which is a say in our own future, not being oppressed, not being killed by weapons supplied by these warmongers. We have a right ourselves. So let's impress that on everybody. And you have a great ally. You may not believe it, but one of those allies is a very close friend of mine, who is the former foreign minister of a tiny nation called Iceland. I don't know if anybody's ever been there. His name is Össur Skarphédinsson. I don't expect you to remember that. But Össur and I, whenever we meet in Reykjavik or here in London, says, how, my friend, is it going with the Kashmiri people? He's passionate about Kashmir. He was foreign minister at the same time as David Miliband here in London. We should invite him over. He may not be able to do much, it's a small nation, but he knows so many people. And the more people like that we can get on our side, the better. Because he knows, I mean, you are many more than 350,000 in Kashmir, but his country is a nation state with 350,000, one of the most progressive countries on earth, with a majority, I think, now of women members of parliament, with total equality, the most equal place you can find. Let's try and get some inspiration from those people that might help us drive our campaign for justice, for freedom, for independence, for the right to say in our own future what we Kashmiris want to see. Thank you for all the work you do and the struggle you have. We will achieve for him. Thank you very much.
Now you can leave. Thank you very much. Now we will conclude this meeting. Once again, thank you very much, each and everybody who graced us with your presence, your insight, your presentations, graduate us in many regards. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your support and your commitment for equality, peace, and self-determination of the people and the